if you guys are. All right. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. I will call the regular meeting of the Ridgway Town Council for May 11th to order and ask the clerk to do a roll call, please.
Councilmember Enix. Here. Bramley.
Here.
Bacon. Here. Schuyler is not present. No, Schuyler is present. Thomas.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Here.
Mayor Clerk.
Here. I see Terry walking in. Got a full slate. Wish I could be there with you, but I've got stuff going on up here. All right. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
I have a few items. We're going to remove item 5, the Old West Fest show. They're not going to be doing that event this year. They're going to be doing the Old West Fest. They're not doing the show. That's what this pertains to.
Okay.
And I'd like to add an item, which is a request the council received last year to block off a small portion of South Railroad Street for a parking lot sale. It's pretty much in front of Cimarron Coffee. And it's going to be on Friday, February 27th from 8 to 3. We can put that on the consent agenda if council wants, or we can add it as an item.
I'm sorry, which item is that?
I'm adding it, and I was saying we can put it on consent if council wants, or we can add it as an extra item.
What's the pleasure of council?
I think it can go on the consent agenda.
We approved this last year, right?
Right.
We did.
Same one.
Yep.
Okay. Preston, do we need a motion to put it on the consent calendar or not?
Yes, that'd be good, Mayor. And I have one more. I'd like to request that the youth council presentation be moved to after item 3, the Mental Health Awareness Month proclamation. We have some of the students that have places to be. So if you all can consider that, that'd be great.
Anybody have a problem with that?
Nope.
Okay, we'll go ahead and do that. Pam, did you have anything else or was just those 2 items?
Just those 2.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion to put the second item on the consent calendar?
I move to add the Railroad Street sidewalk sale to the consent calendar.
Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Oh, that's right. We're doing roll call. Right, correct.
Sorry.
Councilmember Hicks. Aye. Grambley.
Aye.
Lakin.
Aye.
Schuyler.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Aye.
Great, thank you, everybody. I believe that takes us to the consent calendar. Items that are deemed routine to be enacted in one motion. Is there anything that of the existing things on there anybody wants to pull off? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Council members Enix. Aye. Brambley.
Aye.
Bacon.
Aye.
Schuyler.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Aye.
Great, thanks, everybody. That brings us to the public comment section of the agenda, which is established time for the public to address the council regarding any item that is not otherwise listed on the agenda. Comments limited to 5 minutes per person. Is anybody either there in town hall or?
Do I want to say something? No, you're going to raise your hand. Teddy's here. John.
Okay, go ahead.
Please step up to the podium.
Yeah, go ahead and step up to the podium so we can hear you.
No, this is your time.
Okay,
Yes.
this is my time.
This is your spot.
I just would like to present to all of you and tell you about the trash that is on County Road 62. Does everybody know where County Road 62 is? It's the road that goes up Dallas and over to Telluride. Anyway, for 17 years, I've been riding my bike up and down that pass, and it is about as trashy as India. It's disgusting, and it's not only disgusting looking, it is dangerous for the animals and the people there, but that's I just would like to get some signs up there is my idea for it. For people, no trash, like 3 signs going up and present a fee like $500. I'd really like to, it's a dangerous thing. There's stuff all over you. The only thing that's not in our kitchen appliances. But other than that, there's everything on that road and it is disgusting. And if you go walk it, you will see. So that's really all I want to present today. And I hope that you can tell me how to go about this to get signs up. If I come to you or if I go to CDOT or if I, who do I
I
go to?
believe that's going to be in CDOT's territory.
Yeah.
And then just a couple of weeks ago, the council here was out and did 2 miles of cleanup between.
I was right behind you a couple days later and it was all trashy again.
Well, it couldn't possibly have been 50 bags of trash for it within a couple of times.
I know, you'd be surprised.
Unfortunately, that's actually out of our jurisdiction. That's not town of Ridgway. So that
Yeah,
would be.
Teddy,
Okay. Well, thank you. Then I won't say anything else.
Teddy, just so everybody's clear, you're talking Colorado Highway 62, right?
Yes.
The highway that goes up to the pass that you ride on your bike. Yeah, as some folks there have said, that's a state highway. CDOT, it's in CDOT's jurisdiction. We've recently adopted the first 2 miles from the top of the hill coming out of Ridgway, 2 miles west. And as somebody said, we picked up like 48, 50 bags. I mean, I'm sure there's a little bit more right after that, but there are other stretches that are also technically adopted by other entities. I suggest you reach out to CDOT and Preston can probably get you the appropriate contact.
I'll
Preston, I
just
would.
go over there. I go over there to get bags to help clean up too.
Okay.
But thank you, John.
Yeah, we totally empathize. That's why we've started adopting our own little stretch there, and it's really important. Obviously, the stretch that we cleaned up last month was, I believe, and I think everybody there would agree with me that it probably hadn't been cleaned up in 10 years or something, because there was plastic that was so deteriorated that it was obvious that the sun had eaten it up pretty seriously, and that takes time. But we're going to do it at least twice a year. We're supposed to do it 2 to 4 times a year. So we're going to keep our stretch clean, and we just need to get CDOT to get on the rest of it.
I'm going to spread the word to people that they can just go get the bags and do it themselves. They don't have to wait.
Okay.
That so, and I think they will. I think people will join in. if they
Okay,
want it. So,
All
Thank
right.
you.
thanks, Teddy. Anybody else?
Val has his hand up.
Val's on Zoom. Go ahead, Val.
Yeah, hello. Good evening, everyone. Let's see. You might be aware that on the 3rd of May at the regular county commissioners meeting, they proclaimed May as a dark sky month in Uray County. And so as a part of a celebration for that, a number of organizations have planned a dark sky event at the Ridgway Community Garden on the 27th of May. And I believe the town of Ridgway will be posting that on their website as well in the next few days. So I just wanted to make that announcement and to invite town council to that if they can make it on the 27th at 9 p.m.
Great, thanks, Val. Yeah, Val and Preston and I have been emailing back and forth. We're going to get info about all this on the town website so that we can be considered a co-sponsor of the event, which will help keep our good standing with IDA on our dark sky designation. And I know I'll be there on the 27th. I don't know anybody else can be, but should be a fun event.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, they could just contact me and I could fill them in on the details. So,
All right.
okay, thank you.
Thanks, Val. Anybody have any questions now for Val?
No, thank you, Val.
Okay, great. Anybody else? Public comment? Doesn't sound like it, so we'll move on to public requests and presentations. Item number 3, proclamation declaring May 2022 as Mental Health Awareness Month. That one's got my name on it, but I believe that is Corinne here to help address that? Hi, Corinne.
Yeah, hi everyone. I think I've seen some of you before. I don't remember if I was there last May or last September. But on behalf of Tri-County Health Network, just wanted to come present a proclamation naming May as Mental Health Awareness Month. As you know, in our communities, mental health is a really serious issue. We do have a lot of resources to address it, but having our governments proclaim the month as Mental Health Awareness Month shows our community members and your constituents that you are working for the mental health of your communities. So I just really appreciate being here. I also want to offer up Tri-County Health Network has a lot of mental health classes. If anyone's ever interested, we've trained the town of Telluride, and we would love to train the town of Ridgway. If anyone's ever interested, we have mental health first aid classes, as well as safe talk suicide prevention classes. So that would be amazing if you guys are ever interested. But other than that, just hope you're all taking care of yourselves and really appreciate the time and the consideration.
Great. Thanks, Corinne. I always like when this rolls around, I always like to back up what Corinne had to say and just say the importance of mental health awareness and changing the public attitude about mental health issues is so vitally important now more than ever. We all know, I believe anyway, that the mental health of our youth is at kind of an all-time low, and with the way the last couple of years have gone, I think we're all suffering a little bit of PTSD. And I always like to share that the stigma around mental health issues has always been a problem in helping people get the help they need. And as somebody who has struggled with depression on and off my entire life, I am somebody who's considered suicide before, believe it or not. And I just think it's really important for those of us who have had actual experiences with mental health challenges to share that so that the stigma starts being relaxed. I was on a call recently, I don't know if you were on it, Corinne, but with Paul Reich from San Miguel County and some people from the Front Range, and somebody, organization from Chaffee County told the story of how they actually got their local newspaper to print stories of local people who were willing to tell their story of mental health challenges, again, to destigmatize the issue. And I'm going to go to the folks at the Plain Dealer and see if we can get something similar happening here, because I think it's just really important for us to do anything we can to get people the help they need, and most importantly, again, destigmatize mental health challenges so people don't think that they can't talk to anybody about it and that somehow they'll be judged harshly about it. So thanks again, Corinne. I assume council's in support of this, as we always have been. I think we need a motion to pass the resolution that's before you.
Motion to pass the resolution of Mental Health Awareness Month being May.
Second.
Great. Motion made and seconded. Let's see. Yeah, well, go ahead and well, actually, before we vote on that, I'm sorry, I always forget to ask for public comment, especially when I'm on Zoom. Anybody in the audience there in Town Hall or on Zoom have anything they want to add, any questions for Corinne or myself on this issue? All right, seeing none, let's go ahead and have a roll call vote, please.
Council members Enix. Aye. Bramley.
Aye.
Lakin.
Aye.
Schuyler.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Aye.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it. Thanks for being here, Corinne.
Yeah, one more thing I wanted to plug too is there is funding available to help for therapy services for those who live or work in San Miguel County. I know it's a different county, but we have a lot of commuters. So if there's anyone in your county that works in San Miguel County, we can help them fund some therapy services too.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for letting us know about that.
Yeah, thank you.
Preston,
I really appreciate it.
Yep. Preston, maybe we could get that info on the website somewhere.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Thanks again. That brings us to item number 4, request to use right-of-way and block North Core Street between Roundhouse and Railroad for a community block party on August 25th.
John, we're going to move the Youth Advisory Council up.
Pardon me?
Weren't we going to move that youth advisory council issue up?
Oh, that's right. Thank you for catching that. I was scrambling to take notes and I missed that. So yeah, let's move the item number 7. Is that correct, Preston? Up to,
That's right. Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So it's my pleasure to introduce you've all met them before, but the Youth Advisory Council for the 2021-2022 school year. The school year's flown by pretty quick. No one knows that better than the kids themselves. They met as a youth council, I think 7 times over the last year, November through May. So their last meeting was just a couple days ago. And we did throw a lot at them, presentations, and discussions on a lot of different things. So hopefully they took a lot away, which is why they're here to deliver their end of term presentation and talk about their key takeaways. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Anna Barchi.
Hi, guys. So this is our presentation just about our year. So our group has been meeting once a month since about October, and we've had the goal of advocating for youth voices within our community. This year we had 9 members, which is a lot bigger than last year's council, which was only 5, I think. And each of us are going to talk about our biggest takeaways and why being on this council was important to us. Before we get into that, I want to tell you about our big project this year, which was implementing 2 suggestion boxes, one at the high school and one here at Town Hall, for us to use as ideas for future years. The boxes kind of serve as a way to get direct feedback for the community and a starting point for what we're going to do later on. And it's going to make future years of the council much more productive, because instead of talking about ideas, they'll be right in front of us. And hopefully it can be a big benefit to the community. And I remember during our interviews, a lot of us said, like, we want to feel what it's like to be on your side and hear direct suggestions. So I think we did a good job accomplishing that.
All right, you guys know me from the interview, but my name is Cooper Ahern, and one reason why I joined was just to be like the goal between the youth and the town, basically. I wanted to contribute to the foundation and discuss stuff that needed to be discussed. And like Anna said, we wanted to see what it was like from your side. And I think one thing that I definitely learned as well was that like everyone has to work collectively together if you want something to be done. It's not just like one person. Also, it was really cool to see like youth voices provide a new perspective, because a lot of the time it's just like the grown-ups making the decisions. And that takes a lot of time and effort. So you guys are doing great. Yeah, good job, props. Right. No.
Be careful with those distinctions.
So yeah, thank you guys for having me on the council.
Thank you. Prop stream.
Hi again, guys. So my goals being on this committee was to learn about the inner workings of town government, because we learn a lot about state and national government in school, but we never focus on the local too much. And I did want to represent my community in school and like, give a good look for this town. And then I also wanted to be able to be a voice for my peers and help solve any problems. So just translating that to bigger things. And my biggest takeaways from being on this council was how different aspects of the town work, including the town council itself, the police department, and county commissioners. We got pretty cool detailed presentations from all of them, so that was super nice. And I also learned a lot about the creative thinking that goes into government stuff. Like, you would think it's not a very creative job, but like there's some problems that like there's no direct solution to, so you have to like think in abstract ways, which I really like. And my favorite parts were working alongside my peers for a good cause. It just feels good to be a part of something bigger. And then I really like the presentations from local organizations. We talked to the Western Slope Youth Vote and a couple other groups, and it was really nice to hear from them. And then I also just liked being an advocate for our community. Like, people knew if they had town issues they wanted to have addressed, they could always come to me. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Maisie. So basically, like what everyone else said, I joined to learn about local government because we don't hear a lot about that. We usually just hear about like higher up and that's it. I learned how much time is spent into making all of your guys' decisions, which I sat in on a couple meetings before and I've like seen what it takes, but like there's a lot of thought that goes into it that I did not realize. And I think what I took away most from it was the importance of working with other people, because sometimes I'm not very good at doing that. And so I just learned that like working with your peers is easier than like trying to accomplish something on your own, which I think you guys show really well. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
And Kayla's not here, right?
Yeah, you want one of us to read it?
Yeah, I guess.
I'm Indigo, my slide's later on, but Kayla is also a part of the council, but she has dance. So is Eleni, and she's later on. And so through the Youth Advisory Council, I have learned how much you can accomplish in your own town, even as a high schooler. I have enjoyed having the opportunity to put in ideas and recommendations for the town and feeling like the youth voices of Ridgway are heard. I liked learning about the ways that local government works and being involved.
Hi, I'm Annika Jordan, and I joined the committee because I kind of wanted to be the bridge between the youth and what happens in the town, and kind of like everyone else said, but be able to see what we can do as youth. And a few things I got to learn was how a town council can actually impact a committee or a community. Like, I know you guys do a bunch of stuff, but personally, I've never really been to any of these before. So kind of getting firsthand, getting to do a small version of what you guys do. And also just how local government in general works, all our presentations from the police officers to Jake Neese on Monday. It all just really taught me a lot about what local government does. And then also opportunities within the community. We also had a presentation from the community gardens. I'm going to see what we can do to add and help our community. Was really cool. And so what I enjoyed was getting to have a voice. Like personally, I don't really stand up in a lot of things. So kind of getting one voice on the committee was really, really cool. And getting to tie the youth to the town, like especially with the suggestion boxes, like typically they don't really want to say anything because they're scared. So kind of having that bridge was really cool. And getting to see what issues the town deals with. Like, again, never really been in this situation. So kind of getting firsthand to see what we can help with first things. So thank you guys. And I hope this can continue in future years.
Awesome.
I'm Indigo. I already said that, but I was super excited when I found out that there was this council, because a few years ago I was here presenting for like the Carry On Ridgway Reuses and trying to pass the bag ban. And I got to see a little bit into how decisions were made, but sometimes I get really frustrated when it was like pushed on to the next meeting and continued to have that happen to me. So I was excited to just learn more about it and also kind of have more of an impact in the community on the council. So I learned how government worked from Preston's beautiful presentation. I learned about just things going on in our community, which I thought was really cool. And then I really appreciated the presentation from Western Slope Youth Voices, because I had no idea that that was a thing. And I thought it was very cool. And then I liked having a voice and being able to feel like I could advocate for people my age in this community. I liked learning about what makes our town run so smoothly, or makes it seem like it runs so smoothly. And then I liked having the chance to come up with something that could potentially help our town, like the suggestion boxes that we came up with. And I hope to continue that next year, which I know this is not like for next year, but I.
My name is Huepo, and what I learned pretty much about this council is how much time it really takes for a government to get something done. Because I always feel like sometimes I'll be like, why is this law taking so long to pass? Like in class will be learning about it. It takes like a few months. But I really learned how it just takes a while to actually get something done, even if it's really small, like a suggestion box. And I also learned very small details about like Ridgway and like the county of UA and how different they are, and like the lines and everything, like where it is. Like, I don't know, like how Elk Meadows is not in actually the town of Ridgway. I also learned I experienced many different opportunities for like the town of Ridgway that I can help make the town better. And I learned like how I can actually be involved in this town. My favorite parts about this was probably learning about the town of Ridgway because it was pretty interesting to me. And I enjoyed getting to know local community owners and even just like police officers. I learned about them and like difference between a marshal and sheriff, which still a little confused about. Always mess it up, but got to learn about that and getting to know how to actually make something that like makes the community a better place for everyone and not just like a few people, and how difficult it is. But it was nice having that feeling. So thank you.
Thanks.
So I'm kidding, I'm next, but I'll read the ones. Being on the Youth Advisory Council has taught me so much over the past 6 months. Now I feel so in touch with how our community works and all the different factors that go into running it. I think my biggest takeaway is how our community is run in terms of the different districts, along with all the moving parts such as permits, deeds, restrictions, and what town personnel jobs entail. I have really appreciated being part of the council. And so this is mine. Kind of a repeat of what everyone said, but I really had no idea anything about local government or law enforcement before joining the council. Thanks to like Preston's presentation and the presentation from the marshal, and just being on the council really taught me a lot because I hadn't been to a meeting before I actually joined. And so I also learned about just the new opportunities that are offered that I didn't know about before, just different programs and volunteer opportunities. And then also I just kind of learned how to start thinking about solving issues, not like a certain solution to a certain problem, but just in general, how to see it from a different perspective. And then what I enjoyed the most was all of the presentations we were given, and also just getting a head start for next year with our community boxes, since we didn't get to do many projects or activities. So I'm excited for next year. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you guys for making this happen, and any questions, we'd be happy to answer them.
I've got a question.
Yes.
So I know some of you are graduating and moving on, but those of you that are heading back to school, are you interested in doing this again? Is there any?
I'm planning on it. Yeah.
Cool. It's kind of fun once you kind of figure out how it goes.
Next year will be a bit more like, we'll understand it more. Yeah, and we have all the stuff from the suggestion boxes now, so we can kind of get rolling with that.
Have you had much input on the suggestion boxes so far?
We actually only have them out for like 2 weeks.
Okay.
But we have some, we do have, yeah, we do have.
People want bigger recycling bins, maybe a dog park. What else was there?
And one specific high school teacher wants frisbee golf.
Frisbee golf.
Yes,
Frisbee golf.
Okay. Awesome. So it's working.
We got a couple from Wanda telling us to have a nice day.
Well, of course you. All right. Well, thanks. We appreciate all your efforts this year. So.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Anybody else have any questions for these guys? I would just like to throw out my both congratulations to the 2 seniors that are graduating, and also to the entire group for what a great job you guys did this year. I'm so proud of you guys. The youth council has really been a great thing. Huge thanks to Preston for all the time and effort you put into making it be as successful as it is, and looking forward to next year. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you.
All righty then, that takes us back to, and thanks for the reminder, Russ. Item number 4, request to use right-of-way and block off North Core Street between Roundhouse and Railroad for a community block party on August 25th. Pam.
This event came to council last year. Since it's the second year, it needs to come to council. Also, the fact that they're using a right-of-way needs to come to council for approval. They held it, I believe, at the same time last year, and it was a successful event. We didn't have any problems. Did you? Okay. Well, there were no problems with blocking off that street. They blocked it from one end of the industrial area to the other. And they're asking to do the same again this year.
Great. Anybody on council have any questions? I don't know. Is there anybody from Bennett or any of the businesses out there representing this?
I told them I'd represent them.
Okay, great. Council have any questions for Pam on this one? Seems like pretty much a no-brainer. Anybody in the audience?
Performing this time? No.
Not this year. I think they're having Bone Wagon, and they're having, oh, come on. Who is the other band
Giant?
last year? Little Giant.
Cool.
Yeah, Bone Wagon and Little Giant are performing this year.
Great. All right. If there are any questions, somebody want to make a motion?
I move to approve the block party and blocking North Cora industrial area between Roundhouse and Railroad for August 25th from 5 until dark.
Seconded.
All right, motion made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Council members Ennis.
Aye.
Bramley.
Aye.
Bacon.
Aye.
Schuyler.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody. Takes us to item number 6, presentation from the new president / Telluride Foundation, Jason Corzine. Or is it Corzine?
Resign. But I'll
Welcome,
answer.
Jason.
Thank you, Mayor. To say this is a presentation is a bit of an overstatement. In fact, I gave a presentation right when I started the foundation, and kind of a small crowd, and somebody said, you know what they say about PowerPoints, the person giving them has no power and no point. And I've cut that out of my repertoire. So this is more of an introduction of myself to not only you as elected officials in this community, but the community itself. And so wanted to just come bearing the notion that the Telluride Foundation has 22-year history in this region, and that we have a short history really working in Ridgway and Uray County. But we also have these powerful relationships and a powerful network of nonprofits that we want to continue to support and honor in the foundation work. And so as a reminder, the Telluride Foundation is a true community foundation. We bear the name Telluride, but we serve a much larger region. And so that is Uray County, Montrose County, and all points in between, and those communities that really make up the vital network that are found within there. And so as I have come on to this position, which I started in February, I've spent a lot of time introducing myself and listening, making the rounds. We had a listening session in Ridgway, March 10th, which Mayor Clark attended, very well attended, 25 plus nonprofits. And it was really an opportunity for me just to come in and listen and learn about what's going on in the community and how a community foundation can continue to fill the gaps. And so when we raise philanthropic dollars, our number one mission is to get those out the door to meet community needs where they're most important. And a lot of times that happens at the local nonprofit level. So it's a commitment to continue to support Ridgway's nonprofits, to support Uray County's nonprofits. And then on top of that, we have our own initiatives. And of course, rural housing is one of those. We have a project in your community. We are currently working with you, and rural housing is really a piece for us that's innovative and new, and quite literally trying to figure out where the magic is between making housing truly affordable at the local level so that the teacher base, the law enforcement, the firefighters, those who are the sort of strong network in the community can truly have a place to live. So it's opportunities like these that we will continue to bring to the communities, and wanted you to be aware that you have my commitment to continue to work with you, but also to make sure that the local philanthropists in the community are continuing to support Ridgway and Uray County, and we can be value added to that. So we also recognize there is power in this community. We want to honor that. We want to stand it up and just be a part of the network that is working at the rural level to address the most important issues. Just a little background for me before I move on. Spent 5 years at an organization called the National Park Foundation, based in DC. Was commuting between Denver and DC for 5 years. Would not recommend that. Once COVID hit, it came to a stop, and we had a realization that, there are so many more important things about quality of life. And it brought us back to the San Juans, where I'd spent many years working on behalf of the Trust for Public Land to do open space projects with the communities, and the Forest Service was part of the Red Mountain Task Force. I worked with the Trust for Land Restoration. So I know this community well, but this is really my first time to come in and really get to know it at the ground level. So again, my commitment to you is to continue to bring the resources of the Telluride Foundation to this fantastic community, and maybe even one day be a part of it myself, because I'm still trying to figure out housing. So with that,
14 houses.
yeah, right. I'm pretty aware of that. I don't know that I could get in on that. So with that, thank you for your time. And again, this is more of an introduction than anything. And my phone is always open, and I look forward to partnering with you. And happy to answer any questions if needed.
Yeah, thanks a ton, Jason. Questions?
I've got one, Mayor Clark. I just wanted to get an update on what's going on in Norwood. How's that going?
Yeah, actually, great question. So Norwood is our first row homes project coming out of the ground, and it's going off without a hitch, which is, pretty unheard of in the construction business. Supply chain issues notwithstanding, those homes that are being designed by Fading West are actually pretty close to completion. They will bring them out to the community, and I'm not sure of the timing, but we had a fall sort of idea that houses would come out of the ground and there would be families in those streets trick-or-treating, maybe even by Halloween. So the utilities are in, and quite literally foundations being poured as we speak. It's a fantastic model, actually, and I'm really excited for how it can be replicated, not only in this community, but in Uray and surrounding communities in the West. We really believe it's a really innovative model.
And on one other question on Pinion, what's the application process been like so far?
Yeah, so there are 24 homes, right? And last I heard, there were over 120 plus letters of interest in those. So you can imagine that it's going to be a really competitive, but it's for locals. Again, living, serving the community first and foremost. It's a lottery system. And right now what we're seeing is just people who have general interest, trying to figure out how they can qualify. But again, really when it hits that lottery, the more local you are and the more you're embedded in the community, the better your chances are of securing one of those homes.
New Club, is it still on the table?
Yeah, it's actually, sounds like it's going to be Natarita as another option. And so, the magic in rural housing at the affordable level is securing land, which typically is the highest price point. and making something non-affordable. So we're very inspired by the communities that can come up with a way to get the land donated, if you will. And so it looks like Natarita now has a piece of property that will be ideal for this opportunity as well.
And you're right.
And Ridgway as well.
Is that same parcel still?
Yeah. I believe nothing's changed there. 60 plus or minus.
It's right north of the biota.
Yep. That what we would call industrial complex there.
It's good. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
So,
Anyone
yeah.
else?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mayor.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, we're grateful for, there's a tremendous amount of patience that needs to be applied to a nonprofit trying to build affordable housing. And so we've learned some valuable lessons in Norwood. We're learning valuable lessons here in Ridgway. We will learn some in Natarita. We will learn them in Ridgway. So, but ultimately, when you're first in line, we're all going through growing pains together. And more importantly, thank you for your patience in that process.
Last question on the Ridgway. What's the projected groundbreaking there?
I don't know the answer to that, Commissioner. It feels like it was being fast tracked, and my team or the team at the foundation is still working with the town to figure out entitlements, et cetera. So it might have had a bit of a setback, but I don't think much. But I think it's coming up right on the hills of Norwood, literally.
We have another.
I can share that on my way up here on yesterday, I was able to stop at the Fading West factory in Buena Vista and get a tour. I was really impressed. It's fabulous. Took some pictures I can share later, but it's such a great model. I think it's really going to make a huge difference in the ability to come up with quality housing at a cost that's much more reasonable than we're seeing in conventional home building right now. So, and I love the idea that they're looking to build another factory over in the Front Range near a rail hub so they can ship these things. And there's so much about it that's so innovative. It's just really, really cool. So thanks for your role in that, Jason. And of course to Paul and David.
Right.
Just really looking forward to seeing it happen here in Ridgway.
Yeah, it's on its way. And I think you're in a good spot because Fading West has become quite popular.
Yes.
And we anticipate some of these other projects, being first in line, there's a value to that because their docket of projects is tremendous and growing by the day.
Right.
Last thing I'll say is in early August, we will have another listening session here in Uray at the theater, really focused on the nonprofits and addressing some of the issues that came up in our March session. And that is about building boards, quality of life for the working class within this community, how we empower them from a sustainability standpoint, just kind of best practices within the nonprofit community here. And that's a follow-up to what we heard in early March, and we're really looking forward to it. So thank you.
Thanks, Jason. Any other questions, either on Zoom or in the room there? Well, welcome aboard, Jason. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All righty then, that takes us to item number 7, the annual presentation. No, we did that. Sorry. Moving on to policy matters. Item number 8, award bid for the Lena Street North project. Preston?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So there's a lot of background on this project. Hopefully most of you, or all of you, are privy to at least some of it, and it's in the memo before you, so I'll try not to rehash all of it. Again, it's background on this project and the partnership with Lena Commons LLC on bringing this project to fruition. So the town issued a request for bids February for the Lena Street North project, late February rather. Bids were due at the end of March 31st. The RFB sought bids from qualified contractors to furnish all labor, equipment, materials, and incidentals for the Lena Street North project in accordance with the plans and specs developed by the licensed engineer. The town received 2 bids. One was from KSK LLC at a base bid of $860,000. The other bid was from Ridgway Valley Enterprises, Inc. at a base bid of $864,784.75. After reviewing those bids carefully, developing a bid summary, checking the arithmetic on both bids, checking references, and taking into consideration input from members of the Lena Commons LLC team, town staff is recommending the council award the Lena Street North project to Ridgway Valley Enterprises, Inc. This company is based out of Montrose. The company president has stated that if awarded, they would intend to start in early to mid-June. Reference checking was a very critical component of this process in the bid evaluation process. Staff talked with a variety of references for both companies, and based on the information that was provided, or at least shared with staff, the feeling is that an award to Ridgway Valley Enterprises, Inc. would be in the best interests of the overall project. The experience provided during the reference checking process and on the submitted qualification statements as part of the bid application or bid submittal did indicate to staff that Ridgway Valley more closely met the review criteria. So that's the recommendation from staff. Just want to be clear, the project was identified as a standalone capital improvement project in the 2022 annual budget. Funding has been set aside over the last 2 years to accommodate for the town's portion of this project, 40% to be precise. So as of January 1st of this year, the town has $425,000 in a reserve account to cover its estimated costs of this project. So if the town council were to make the award to, make the award in general, but Ridgway Valley is recommended at the base bid cost of $864,784.75. Want to note that the town and the Lena Commons team will need to account for some additional monies for project management and contingency, which is standard and very common among municipal projects, at that 60-40 split as depicted in the development agreement. And there's background on that development agreement in the memo. Hopefully you guys are privy to that. There's an estimated amount for those costs that really has no bearing on the conversation here tonight. We're simply talking about the base bid. We're hoping to get to a point with the property owner where we agree over project management costs and contingency amounts here soon. And you'll see on the memo, the recommended motion is an award of bid contingent upon getting the necessary monies escrowed. I think that's everything. I'm happy to answer.
Thanks, Preston. Council, anybody have any questions for Preston?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a question, maybe it's just a comment. 5% for contingency seems kind of low based on personal experience. It seems like 10% is more common. Is there, if it goes over the 5%, what's the mechanism?
That's a good question. Joanne or Bo might be able to talk to what the actual construction contract that we advertise as part of that bid talks about that. You're right, 5% is on the what I would consider on the lower side. It's usually anywhere between 5 and 10%. But Joanne can talk to that much better than I can.
Yeah, I think we looked at the numbers and, typically a lot of the funding agencies make you drop your contingencies from 10 to 5 after you have hard numbers. And these are locked in prices and locked in scope of work. And so we felt like we could probably reduce it a little bit and make it a little easier for our partners to escrow the money.
But should it exceed that? Is there a mechanism?
If it's exceeded, then I believe in accordance with the agreement with our partners, both the town and the developer would need to increase their contribution.
We would at least need to meet and confer to discuss that, and provided it's substantial, we'd probably have to come to council to authorize any additional monies. And hopefully that doesn't happen, but good question.
Budget addition.
Right, supplemental type stuff.
I see the attorney for the developer has his hand up. Tom Kennedy, you want to weigh in?
Hi, guys. You hear me okay?
Yep.
Good. Yeah, I'm counsel for Lena Commons LLC, the partner in this project. I agree with what your staff has said, relative to the bid. We think it's the right group to award the bid to. We're as concerned about you guys with cost, and our agreement with you creates the opportunity that we keep our eye on the budget and the schedule. And if it looks like we might be going over it, then we get together with you guys as well as the contractor to try to understand or figure out, why that might be, and are there things that we could do maybe to try to keep it in line with the budget. So that's how we view the project, working with you guys moving forward on that. And we do, there are some additional or other issues unrelated to this bid, which we endorse you to support, as on your agenda tonight. But we just need to work through understanding some of the management fees and costs that's separate and apart from this. And we look forward to working with with your staff on that. So I just wanted to say we do support the award of the bid, and I'll leave it at there and answer any questions you have.
Thanks, Tom. Anybody have questions for Tom or staff? Further questions?
I've got a question for Ridgway Valley, I guess. It's regarding the cost. It says this bid was due by March 31st, and in doing a little bit of research, I saw that as of March, they were saying asphalt costs were supposed to be going up between 10 and 15% based on under $100 barrel of oil. And I just saw today that we're up to 105 today. So what is there any estimated impact on what the asphalt cost will be for this, if that's going to change or affect this bid at all?
Is anyone on Zoom with Ridgway Valley?
Doesn't look like
my answer would be that they had to hold their bid prices for 60 days and we're within that limit. And so they're locked in on price.
Okay, so by the way we've got this set up, they're locked in on that price. And if there's a significant change, that's not going to cause us to have to go over that 5% contingency.
I think we would need to come to you if they thought that they were entitled to more money. The contract is a fixed price contract.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Anyone else have questions? Hearing none, someone want to make a motion?
I move to issue notice of award for the Main Street North project to Ridgway Valley Enterprises Incorporated as presented and contingent upon Lena Commons LLC depositing its share of the cost of the project, approximately 60%, to the escrow account held and maintained by the town and dedicated exclusively for use by the parties in connection with the project development and implementation agreement for the payment of the cost of the project. Second.
All right, motion made and seconded. Any other discussion? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Council members Ennis. Aye. Graham.
Aye.
Lakin. Aye. Skylar.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody. That takes us to item number 9, review and action on the updated development agreement between Alpine Homes Ridgway LLC and the town of Ridgway. Bo, see your name on this?
Great, thank you, Mayor. As you guys may recall, this is with respect to the riverfront project development. The town some time ago entered into the development agreement with the developer, which outlined some of the additional contingencies and work that will come into play post approval of the plat map. There's a cleanup that we're bringing forth with an amendment to the development agreement, which specifically addresses in the future, if there is a need to put forth stormwater mitigation on a piece of property to the west that is owned by the town, it would be the applicant's burden to install that infrastructure, with the town securing any additional approvals for that. So that is the substantive change for the proposed development agreement. But included on this call is Mr. Kennedy, who's also representing that applicant. So I would also offer if you wanted to weigh in as well.
Yeah, so Tom Kennedy, we're good with the change. We've worked closely with your staff on that, and so we're good with that change, and would encourage you to go ahead and move this forward tonight. And again, I'm available for questions if you have any.
All right, anybody have any questions for either Bo or the developer's attorney? Or staff? Seeing none, we need another motion.
Move to approve the updated development agreement with Alpine Homes Ridgway LLC. Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's made and seconded. Roll call vote again, please.
Council members Ennis. Aye. Bramley. Aye. Lakin. Aye. Schuyler.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Aye.
All righty, thanks, everybody. Moving right along, we are up to item number 10, another one for Bo. Temporary access agreement between the town of Ridgway, Echo Properties Corporation, Railroad Depot Funding LLC, Ridgway Railroad Museum, and the Uray County Ranch History Museum.
Great, thank you, Mayor. So this is actually another cleanup issue. I know that some of our council members don't necessarily have the history and context, but to the east of Town Hall there off of Railroad Street, there is a piece of real property that is owned by Echo Mountain Properties with a series of tenants in place who are under, I believe, 50-year leases, one for the operation of the Railroad Museum and two for the Ranch History Museum, which is out of the old historic train depot. The town and town staff has historically tried to enter into a formal easement agreement with the landowner and the tenants in terms of access off of Railroad Street. We're continuing that negotiation, and we're hopeful that we can bring a long-term solution to place. In the interim, to recognize the existing access points that the museums are and the landowner are using, we've put forth this proposed temporary access easement, which would grant the tenants and the owner permission through the end of 2022 access at 3 points there along Railroad Street, with the goal being that for the remainder of the year, staff work with the property owner to finalize a long-term solution.
Great, thanks, Bo. I don't see anybody on from any of the entities involved in this, but does anybody on council or in the audience have questions for town attorney or staff? Okay, seeing none. Someone want to make a motion?
I move to approve the temporary access agreement between the town of Ridgway and Echo Properties Railroad Depot Funding, Ridgway Railroad Museum, and Uray County Ranch History Museum.
Second.
All right, I didn't catch who made that second, but motion made and seconded. Can we have another roll call vote, please?
Council members Ennis. Aye. Bramley.
Aye.
Lakin. Aye. Schuyler.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Aye.
All right, thanks again, everybody. Moving right along. It's item number 11, resolution number 22-06, establishing the town of Ridgway Community Sustainability Advisory Board. Preston.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So before you is a resolution formally establishing what we've coined as the Town of Ridgway Sustainability Advisory Board, subject to approval from you all, of course. Shout out to Deb Overton for all her research on similar committees and areas around the state and even across the country. From that research, we've drafted a formal authority and procedures document, which contains more info on the purpose, the duties, and the procedures of this board. It can be found in the exhibit to the actual resolution. Ultimately, this would be a board that is purely advisory in nature and would advise the town council in an effort to effectuate improvements to things like the Ridgway Municipal Code, town operations, town facilities. I'm speaking broadly, of course, on matters like sustainable practices, waste reduction, renewable energy, resource conservation, things like that. So I think that's the summary. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thanks, Preston, and share the council's appreciation with Deb, please, for all her hard work on this. Anybody on council have thoughts or comments or questions?
No.
Seems pretty comprehensive to me.
Yeah, this is a good thing. I think everybody's supportive of it. Would we need to determine who the committee ex officio member would be before we?
You don't have to do that. It was a thought. I think I posed that in the motion.
It's actually-
I think this is a perfect time for someone to say, hey, this would be cool for me to do, but you don't have to do it now.
Anybody else not interested, I would certainly take that on. If somebody else is pressing.
I would just throw out that I know JT has been talking with me for months now about a concept like this. I don't know what your thoughts are, JT, but I want to make sure you get the opportunity to be involved if you like, or also if you have any thoughts on the draft resolution and the structure as the staff came up with it.
Yeah, I mean, I had a chance to review this since Preston sent it out to us over the weekend. I definitely want to be involved on it. I don't know about ex officio or what position right now. I think it would be worthy for all of us, of course, to keep a pulse on how this evolves. And yeah, and actually maybe worth, well, yeah, regardless, I'd like to be involved in it. And I don't know if there's any edits specifically to it right now. Definitely props to Deb for having done a comprehensive look around the nation and state. That's great. And I understand that it's an advisory committee primarily. And I certainly, now sitting on the Sneffels Energy Board, would report and work with Terry and all of us, and also with Russ on water stuff. All that stuff is intertwined for sure. And I also would see I would see a need for a mechanism to discuss this stuff with planning as well.
Yeah, it kind of comes to mind that you serve on Sneffels Energy Board. I serve on the Colorado Communities for Climate Action. Russ has been involved in a lot of the water stuff and the planning stuff. We actually have a fair amount of expertise on this council in terms of sustainability. I know John's been really involved. So not to undermine you, JT, but I would kind of support putting Terry in because it gives all of us some different viewpoints that we can then bring up here for discussion. Just in terms of getting as many people bringing various perspectives to the table.
I concur, and certainly getting the word out as well.
Yeah.
Definitely putting some effort into outreach across obvious collaborators and also unobvious ones as well.
Yeah. One of my notes on here was there was a point about looking for members who have experience in the realm of sustainability over people who do not. And I would say, as we look at these applications, some town staff will make these decisions, but I think it needs to be a little bit of a balance. I would say we're looking mostly for people with the experience, but occasionally someone who is new to the conversation brings fresh eyes on how it's perceived by the public at large. I think about some of our public comments that we've had of late with people newer to the sustainability game. That's my only quibble when I read this, was kind of that last bit, the experience piece.
That was really well said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I concur.
Yeah, to the effect of what Jason had just shared with us from Telluride Foundation, when it came to their attention from their last meeting, their listening session, that working, you know, with the with working class in Uray County, obviously, not obviously, but so oftentimes conversations of sustainability end up being in a relatively cloistered environment, and it's I think it takes a lot of effort to make the outreach, to make everybody feel that it's all inclusive. So I think that would be a necessary part of it. And I concur with that Terry, with his background.
But I also want to make it clear, this is kind of like my day job, I do this all the time. So if somebody else wants to bring new voices to this.
I would like to make a motion to extend the hours of Terry's day job.
I was trying to move loud.
I think he's trying to close the door.
Yeah, okay.
Do you guys need to rock, paper, scissors? Like, I don't know.
I'm just saying, if you have your passion to get into this, I can support it. And other than being on the committee, you know, burning desire to do it. Otherwise, I can bring my experience to it for sure. You can bring
We
new,
also don't have to decide tonight, so.
Yeah,
I would bring new information and juice to it.
I think it'd be worthwhile for all the things that's shined a light on, is having various expertise across the board, figuring out which items are going to be the most important for all of us to stay alert to and what to communicate on efficiently.
Yeah, and I was going to point out just that what's going to be really important once this thing gets rolling is that we, as a council, really back up the efforts that the group that forms this initial committee brings to us. You know, I think the thing that's going to make the biggest difference in the effectiveness of this effort is that we show that we really trust this group, and we want to take their advice into consideration and act on it, not have it just be something that we're doing to try and look good or something, you know. So I think it's going to be really important that we take the feedback we get from them and act on it. So that will be a great way for us to all stay involved, for sure.
Agree. I was going to add in, I remember years ago Al Gore saying sustainability is a great word, but everybody's got their own definition for it. So not to mire down into kind of creating a mission statement around it, but really taking measure of how it plays out, and figure out what kind of legs it'll have as well, and how it interfaces with the day-to-day motions of town and how that evolves over time.
Good point. All right, well, aside from deciding, and you know, we're obviously going to put this out to the public to ask for people to apply to be on this board. And until that happens, there's not a pressing need for one of us to step up as the ex officio member. But regardless, we need to vote to implement this.
So I move to adopt the modification that not everybody needs to be experienced in this. Resolution number 22-06, the resolution of the town council, the town of Ridgway, Colorado, establishing the town of Ridgway Sustainability Advisory Board. We will determine the ex officio council member at a later date.
I second that.
Okay, again, I don't know who seconded that, but you guys, Pam's probably got it. Motion made and second. Any other discussion?
Just to be clear, the intent of the motion, should we strike, when you were talking about that, Ridgway residents and persons with experience in the realm of sustainability should be preferred over persons who do not? Should we just strike that sentence?
Yeah,
Is that what is that?
yeah.
That was what I was trying. to
Yeah,
refer to.
Ridgway residents, I would say we would give a preference to. It was, but I think I would leave it to staff to consider a range of experiences.
Yes, okay, got it. Thanks.
So to be
All
clear,
right.
it's limited to members of town. So it's the outside of Ridgway proper.
The way it's worded, Ridgway County residents are eligible.
Great. There's probably.
And that last sentence was just meant as a guideline, but if you all think that's a little too strict, what have you, which I think we talked through, we can certainly modify that.
No, this came up in the Ridgway, the Rock Clean Energy Committee, which I also member of, and the Zebra Committee, which has been formed to help advise this new committee on the idea of the net zero issue. And there was discussion in committees about wanting membership that may not be truly a Ridgway proper resident. So it's good.
So just so I'm clear for the, for staff's sake on this motion is, Russ, did you intend for that paragraph 3 qualification of members, the second sentence to be Ridgway residents should be preferred over persons who are not Ridgway residents, or should be preferred, maybe just leave it at that, or would you rather just leave it as the first sentence? What was your intent?
Yeah, my intent was to say that not everybody had to have the experience in the realm of sustainability. Just to try and get that new perspective. I didn't have a feeling one way or the other if Ridgway residents were preferred over Ridgway County residents. So I'm okay with it being Ridgway County residents are eligible for appointment.
So striking that last sentence.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
The last sentence, strike the last sentence, number 3.
Right. So I think we're ready for a roll call vote on that basis.
Council members Ennis. Aye. Brambley.
Aye.
Lakin. Aye. Schuyler.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody. Awesome work on that, staff, and I'm excited to see this hit the ground. That brings us to item number 12, authorization of purchase of security fence for the water treatment plant as budgeted in the 2022 fiscal year budget. Preston.
Thank you, Mayor. So staff has procured several quotes. I shouldn't say several. Tried to get several. We got ended up with a couple for security fencing to be installed around the Ridgway water treatment plant. That includes the water tanks and the newly installed generator. The project was budgeted for in this year's budget. The 2 quotes that were received, I think they're depicted in the memo. Taylor Fence Company of Grand Junction, just north of $57,000. England Fence Company LLC, just north of $64,000. The actual amounts are depicted in the memo. Those are just general amounts. The procurement policy contains a provision that allows the manager to waive the formal RFP process for purchases, just like this one, that are in excess of $25,000 when a request for quotes yields a better value and cost for the town. So at this point, town council is required to approve expenditures over $25,000 for that policy, which is why we're here. So staff is recommending the quote proceed from Taylor Fence Company of Grand Junction for a total amount of $57,366. Be approved to furnish and install a chain link security fence around the water treatment. Happy to answer any questions. This is uphill to the southwest
And not downtown, not the ponds.
Correct.
Okay.
This is the water treatment plant up top to the southwest there up on the hill. The other facility you were referring to is our wastewater treatment plant, sewer lagoons. So yeah, this is not that.
Just
All
the
right,
only question I have with this whole thing is with the rising costs, is this a set bid? So we can't we can expect it to stay
Yes,
at that cost.
good question. Yes, based on the quote, we've had that assurance, and I believe they can get us on their schedule fairly soon, but I need to verify that. But
Okay.
we'll make sure we don't enter into a purchase agreement if there's not, if there's any sort of inkling that that quote is not firm.
Okay.
Just a quick question as to the need. It's surrounded by private property that's accessed by a private road. Is there a legal requirement to have a fence around?
Good question. No, there's no legal requirement. I've had conversations with Ms. Dana Ivers, who owns what's referred to as the McCullough property now. Fairly new owner of that. So I've also talked to Mr. Robert Sabbath about this, and they both, I don't want to speak for them, but I'll just regurgitate what they've told me. They were in favor of this and felt that it should have been done a long time ago. It's just an added layer of security for that facility, especially this day and age. So they were totally all for it. We should definitely need to make sure that that in holding where our property is surveyed, that the fence gets put on the survey pins, things like that. So we have some legwork to do, but we fully intend to do that. We also have to look at some past documents, maybe a plat to understand access on that road. I think that's the last remaining piece, but
They were precisely the ones I was concerned about, might object to it.
right.
All right, any other questions? Seeing none, someone want to make a motion?
I move to approve the deviation from procurement procedures, waive the formal request for bid process for acquisition of equipment, authorize the purchase of a security fence from Taylor Fence Company of Grand Junction in the amount of $57,366, and authorize staff to enter into a purchase agreement for said equipment.
Second.
All right, thank you. Motion's made and seconded. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Ennis.
Aye.
Bramley.
Aye.
Lakin.
Aye.
Skylar.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Aye.
Great, thanks, everybody. That takes us to item number 13, ratification of grant application to the Department of Local Affairs Rural Economic Development Initiative Program. Preston, and I want to say right off the bat that once again, Preston deserves a huge amount of gratitude. I threw this at him the week that it needed to be submitted. This is all about the old, what's called the old post office building where the big fire was when the vault had, the store called the Vault had just moved in there. It wasn't this last winter, but the winter before. Jenny Lee Phillips and her daughter own the property, and they're struggling to rehabilitate it. And they thought they could apply for this ready grant. Sorry, Preston, I'm sort of taking this off
good.
for you, the explanation, but they thought they could apply for this grant directly themselves, and it became clear that this was a DOLA grant that needed to go through a municipality or a government entity. So I reached out to Preston at the literally past the 11th hour, and he very graciously said he could take it on and get it in by the deadline. So huge thank you to you, Preston, for that. And anything else you want to give in the way of background, go ahead.
No, that pretty much covers it, Mayor. But yeah, just to be clear, the request was for $150,000 to support the rehabilitation of the old post office, like John was saying, and the town is simply would if awarded, the town would simply be a fiscal agent on those funds and kind of be the middleman in administering those funds.
So yeah, we're just ratifying this after the fact. With talking to DOLA, it's a long shot. There's not a lot of money in this program this year, but I'm hopeful that it's a really deserving project, and it's not a huge amount of money, and they are backing it up with both a cash match and a loan match. So fingers crossed. But any questions? Makes sense to everybody. It's a good idea. I'm just hopeful we can bring it home for them.
I have a question. Do we know if there are other grants being pursued on this project as well?
On this project, I don't know.
I don't know either.
Clearly, it's gonna cost more.
I mean, well, that's like I said, the grant request is for 150. They have 150 in cash match as part of the grant and 150 loans, so for a total of 450,000. But it could cost it could well cost more than that. And I'm sure they're looking at other grant opportunities. They're you know, from my conversation with them and some people at DOLA and elsewhere, it's kind of ironic. There's not a lot of money in the pipeline right now for these kinds of things, like there are for some of the affordable housing projects and such. But again, I'm hopeful that maybe we can pull this off for them.
I asked that question with the idea in mind that if we're being the fiscal mechanism in this process, whether we'd have to serve in that role again for other matching grants afterwards.
No, we're not bound to do that. There may be a request to participate, but it doesn't commit us to anything beyond this.
But we've done that before. It's definitely not unusual. We try not to do it if we don't have to, because it's obviously a drain on staff. And again, that's why I'm so grateful to Preston for being willing to take it on. I think you know, it's a very worthy project. So hate to see it have to get scraped off if they can't afford to rebuild it. It's a historic structure. So
Just another example, just an example of us serving as fiscal agent is the Main Street Open for Business grant, $250,000. It's going to Greg Young is the property owner of the owner of the bank building, and they're just about done with those facade improvements and energy efficiency improvements. So the town's administering the grant with the help of the property owner, but it's definitely work to administer as a fiscal agent. But that one's going.
Well, we're strictly a conduit. We don't charge a markup or any percentage.
Some grant opportunities allow for that, like a 5% administrative fee, or you can lop off some money to, you know, but others don't. Just depends.
So is this
okay?
Go ahead, Jerry.
Take it. I move to ratify the grant application Department of Local Rural Affairs and Rural Economic Development.
Second.
There we go. Thank you. Motion made, seconded. Further, any other discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Councilmembers Ennis.
Aye.
Graham.
Aye.
Bacon.
Aye.
Skylar. Thomas.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody. Item number 14, last item under policy matters, update on annual council scholarships to a local high school senior. Has my name on it. Beth and I are on, we are the sole members of the committee that deals with the Ridgway scholarship. We had 2 applicants this year, and Beth and I had a chat today about those applicants and how we were going to proceed. But because it's a surprise that we give, I usually go to their award ceremony, which this year will be the morning of May 20th in their sort of auditorium there at the secondary school. So I'm not going to tell you who we decided on, so it remains a surprise. But we had 2 good applicants this year, and I'm continue to be really proud of the fact that we do this for the community. And I have to throw out that Emma Barchi, the mayor of the youth council, I just love the energy of these kids. When Jake Neese presented to them at the meeting earlier this week, Monday, she actually had the initiative to say, "Hey, Jake, I think the county should do this too." I just thought that was so great. So we're leading the charge on it. I don't think the city of Ridgway does anything like this, nor does the county, but hopefully with the urging of the student body, they're gonna take it up.
What's the scholarship?
Pardon me?
$1,000.
$1,000. So the first, I think maybe the first year or two, it was only 500, and then we upped it to 1,000, and it's been that for the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years anyway. Anything else? Anybody have any questions about that?
Is that a renewable scholarship or is that a one-time?
It's a one-time. Yep. Although we could always talk about coming up with some more money and doing something like that. But as of now, it's just a one-time for the seniors. So next year, next year's seniors will apply.
Thank you.
All right. Hearing no questions about that. That takes us to written and verbal reports. Town manager's report, anything you want to highlight for us, Preston?
I feel bad. Who got the award? Was it Anna?
We haven't announced that. It's,
Oh, sorry.
This is secret.
Said he's not going to. announce
yeah.
it.
Oh, we're not going to announce it.
Tell me.
Yeah. I said that
The
it's a
graduate.
surprise. So we don't,
I wasn't listening. I'm sorry.
That's all
Did I
right.
sound like frustrated teacher at the end of the year? I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Thank you.
It's okay, Preston. Last month it was me that was. What goes around comes around.
I'll see you there. 2 scholarships from S&P at the same event. So it should be an interesting event.
Yeah, it's a great event. The regional community really comes out for our high school seniors here, and it's really a fun thing to see. So I encourage any of you who want to go to the event to do so. It's 9 o'clock on the 20th. Anyway, Preston,
Yeah.
anything you want to highlight on the town manager's report or?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll do.
Questions?
I'll highlight a couple things. Sorry for getting it out just today, but thanks for your patience there, because I know you guys cannot wait for this to be issued. I know you guys on the edge of your seats for this report to come out. I'm shocked.
Bated breath.
There's a nice little shiny photo of the folks who participated in the highway cleanup. Thanks to everyone who did that. 48 bags of trash and then other standalone items like the tires, I think.
10 tires, 4 bumpers, and a ski. One ski.
I've got to tell you, I came driving and I couldn't make this because I was camping, and I came driving into town, hauling my camper, and there was this row of yellow bags. I was like, oh, and every time I passed it, I was scared.
So I volunteered to drive by and count because I'm like, I want to know. And I realized about halfway headed westbound that Kevin is behind me. Like, are you just double checking my numbers? He goes, no, I'm just as obsessed about it as you are.
I still feel sore from walking up and down the hill. Yeah.
Guys did a great job. It was a visual monument to your efforts driving into town.
It was impressive visually with the orange bags. It was kind of
Looked
like
like one of those
parade.
art things, you know, where they
Yeah.
tapestry.
The weekend after that was the annual cleanup day event. Pam coordinates it every year. Thank you, Pam. Mayor Clark actually gets out there and helps people unload their stuff. Thank you, Mayor Clark. Stephen and Rodney were voluntold to be there, so thank you, Stephen and Rodney. But it was, I think, 3 full roll-offs, Mayor?
Yep.
So well-received event. Happy to report that the town of Ridgway was awarded $750,000 to assist the Ridgway Yellow Brick Lane project. Big deal. It was a lot of months in the making since October, going through the pre-application process and the application process. So I'm thrilled. I know everyone's thrilled. So I was talking with Liz on the phone yesterday. I hadn't even divulged that to Paul Major or David Bruce yet.
I was
So
wondering because you didn't bring it up.
well, I thought it'd be more appropriate to talk with council about it before everybody else, but you know, doesn't always go the way you want it to. Anyway, now I'll talk with Paul and David and get that project is slated to go before planning commission for another sketch plan and a combined sketch plan and preliminary plat hearing at the end of this month, May 31st. So, but great news there. We also got another grant to put towards the Lena Street North project, $150,000 from CDOT. They're revitalizing Main Streets program. It's a small multimodal and economic resiliency grant. We received a grant from this program a couple of years ago in 2020, not this much, but it's around $50,000 for some striping. But this will go a long way for sure for that project. To date, I believe we have somewhere, I shouldn't say we, ArtSpace has received somewhere between 30 and 40 leasing applications for Ridgway Space to Create. Greg Foley with ArtSpace and Lindsay, I don't remember what Lindsay's last name is, John, but she's with the property
I don't
management.
either, I'm sorry.
They were here for 2 full days last week with meeting with prospective applicants and taking walk-ins. And so a lot of hard work on their part to meet with applicants and talk them through the process. So again, somewhere between 30 and 40 applications, which is cool. And slated to go up, of course. I've been working with CDPHE. It's been a bit in the making, but we're at a point where we can enter into an MOU to participate in what's called the wastewater surveillance collaborative. I know John knows about this, maybe some of you do too, but we will be taking samples twice a week from the wastewater effluent and getting them to CDPHE's courier so they can review those samples and have COVID data. The city of Uray has been doing it for a couple months now. So we're at a point where we can try to take that on and see how that goes. So
Once that, I have a quick question. Once that has been implemented and there's information to be had, will we be able to access that information just so we can see the data?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I know CDPHE has a dashboard that staff will have access to, or at least Tanner Kingery, our public health director, has access to. It's not quite clear to me yet if we will, but that sure would be cool for folks, now we're facing public to see, oh, wow, yeah. The samples from last week do show certain levels of traces of COVID. So I don't know if I can find that out, but
I'm
I
interested.
don't think it is public knowledge.
Liz just said this, Tice just said that she thinks there is a public dashboard.
Oh, okay, good to know.
It's a lag, it's slower than like the internal dashboard, but I look at Tellurides all the time.
You've been on there, you've seen it? Have you looked at your rates?
Yeah, it's tricky, they're so small that it's hard to really read it, but yeah.
Right, interesting. Well, good enough. Cool.
I'm specifically interested to see like how the levels change when tourism picks up again here in a couple weeks.
And then that's the idea, because it's a all encompassing sample.
Yeah.
So
it's not just residents.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Shout out Mike Jenkins and Jeff Rivera for their street grading operations, which started on Monday. So thanks everybody for your patience and understanding as they do all that work through pretty much the entire month of May, almost a good portion of May. So we have entered into a purchase agreement with Alternative Power Enterprises for purchasing a solar array, a 2.555 kilowatt solar array to be installed on the athletic park restrooms. Josh Shipley thinks that can be done early June, but maybe sooner. There's a new speed bump on Amelia. Who's seen it? Who's gone over it?
On my BMX bike doing some rad jumps.
Simply, well, I shouldn't say simply, but we're too much, but testing it out to see how it's received. I do think it's in an appropriate spot given the traffic pattern. If you all get any complaints or questions about it, please point them to Shane. Just joking. We've already gotten some questions and not so much concerns, but popped out of nowhere. People are like, what's going on here? So
Does it float or is it tagged down?
It's staked down. But it's portable, so it can be,
So it can move and move.
so we're testing it out as a speed mitigation device for me for a long time. That speeds are too intense on that street. I think we've all seen it.
This is just right up from the school.
This is on South Amelia. That picture is just to the south of Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, it's right when you turn out of Elizabeth. The picture doesn't show it, but actually I do see cars trying to just straddle, like just do one wheel over it.
Yeah.
But you still have to slow down to
You still
swerve
slow
over to
down.
do that. I looked at the picture too, and then I was like, yeah.
And what you end up though is somebody riding on the sides, if somebody's walking or so. Is the only thought that I had when I saw it.
So we'll monitor, and if there's issues, we try to adjust. But
Is it 2-piece?
So
3, isn't it?
3 segments.
Although I do have to say,
Because if you separated the same.
guys, it's red, yellow, or red, black, or yellow, black, yellow, black, yellow, black, and then it's yellow, yellow.
Oh, God, now you told me that. I didn't see that before.
I see spot there, it looks too black.
Oh, it makes me nuts.
Okay, I'm not.
That's all.
Looks like an invasive snake.
These are the things that the council has to weigh in on.
These are.
We're gonna be here for hours.
it's like we put that last segment in backwards, Kevin.
Does it mark the spot where the roundabout goes?
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Sorry, for the record, I'm joking.
I figured, but then.
Okay, now we're really digressing here. Let's bring it back together.
That's it for me. Oh, rural philanthropy days, June 7th through 9th, hosted here in Ridgway. Pretty cool event coming up. That's it.
All right. What's the feeling on the joke?
I like it.
I've never seen a waterproof toaster. Just saying.
What do you think, Bo? You got a challenge?
It was perfectly acceptable.
What?
Do you have anything to match it?
I have 2. Do we want to digress? I've got 2 bee related jokes. So
Give us your best shot.
give my best shot. Well, here I got one. This one's from my son. What do farmers do when they get a little excited in the spring? Wet their plants.
I like that one. That's good. We like that one. That definitely qualifies.
I'll add one that's spring related.
Guys.
How do you know it's spring in Utah? All the license plates turn green.
Oh, got it. I feel everybody from Colorado. Got it.
Got it.
Took me a second.
That one is deep. That's deep. Yeah. All right. Anybody have any questions for Preston on the staff report or the manager's report or any other questions? I see we have a.
The bands in just a few days.
Yeah.
We can't go anywhere. I've tried before.
Sorry, I'm not hearing that.
It didn't matter, John.
Okay, it was a joke.
Just to throw something out there, the Creative District had kind of their first happy hour meet and greet yesterday. It was extremely well attended by members of the chamber, by members from the newly formed Duray Main Street group. And everybody spoke with the idea of collaboration, and everybody's on board, everybody wants to play, and everybody wants to play together, which is awesome. And
That's great news.
yeah, it's absolutely great news. You were missed, John, but we're going to do it again. We're going to take this little event, move it all over town to different businesses, different locations, and try to keep that vibe amongst everybody who wants to be involved. There were probably, I would say, 8 couples that had moved to the community in the last 2 years that were just dying to meet and get a hold and kind of connect. And so there's a good energy out there, which is cool. And so as those things pop, I encourage everybody to attend. They're cool. It's good juju.
How often are you guys talking about doing that?
Probably not during the height of summer, but definitely three times a year. You know, maybe a spring, fall, and dead of winter type setup. Yeah, and the chambers really wants to kind of share that with us, and I think that's cool. It's great.
Yeah, I was thinking the chamber used to do their after hours social. Maybe this could take the place of that again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think everybody's on the same page with how important that is for everybody in the community. It was
Great.
well received, which is great.
Great.
Back to
So
volunteering for the 10, how do we do that? Through you?
Talk with me after the meeting.
all right, so I see that we have a executive session on the agenda. Is that still necessary, guys, staff?
Yes, sir.
Okay, maybe anybody else has any committee reports or board appointment reports, get that out of the way first. Kevin's already given his for the Creative Main Street Group. Anybody else have anything that they want to talk about? And if not, I guess we'll go ahead and have Bo give us the citation for the executive session.
Great, thank you, Mayor. If we could get an executive session pursuant to 24-6-4024B for the purpose of receiving legal advice and pursuant to 24-6-4024E for the purpose of determining positions that may be relative to matters that may be subject to negotiation regarding Ridgway Land Company subdivision improvements agreement, subdivision improvements and lien agreement.
Okay, somebody want to say so moved?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Ennis is in the restroom. Graham.
Aye.
Aye. Skylar.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Meyer.
Aye.
All right. Looks like everybody who's on Zoom that needed to get off has gotten off. How about, I need like a 2-minute bio break. Anybody else need to use the restroom? We'll be back at 7:18. Okay.
Okay, that's good.
So, Preston, we have a list of block reports for CC for CA. Let's go for it.
Busy a couple of days.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. but he says he had not.
They sent you an invite? You ever been to one of those?
I was at Polar Express.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Those shows are.
As in contractors.
Okay, guys.
But yes, no, it's, yeah. I've got this one all of them.
Highly encourage you. See opportunities for good mantras. Yeah, I do.
They're cool.
Well,
So
technically, I don't think it's,
You do?
I could.
No, I've had this before.
It's
not like that. It's not brand new.
It's your medium pack.
Today's medium pack kind of bit.
It's cleaner.
Okay.
Kristen, like, it's Kristen.
Yeah.
She can.
Yeah, I think we're all here, John.
Yeah.
We ready? All right, take it away, Steph.
Good evening. It is 7:18 PM on May 11th, 2022. For the record, I am the town attorney. As required by the open meeting law, this executive session is being electronically recorded. Also present at this executive session are the following persons: Mayor John Clark, Councilmember JT Thomas, Councilmember Kevin Grambley, Mayor Pro Tem Russ Meyer, Councilmember Terry Schuyler, Councilmember Polly Ennis, and I'm missing one. Councilmember Beth Lakin.
Hello.
Town Administrator Preston Neal and Town Engineer Miss Joanne Fagan.
Town clerk's here.
And Town Clerk Pam Kraft. This is an executive session pursuant to 24-6-4024B for the purpose of receiving legal advice, and pursuant to 24-6-4024E for determining positions for matters that may be subject to negotiation regarding Ridgway Land Company subdivision improvements and lien agreement. I caution each participant to confine the discussion to the stated purpose of the executive session. And if any time during the executive session you feel like we go outside the proper scope of the executive session, please interrupt the discussion and make an objection.
Okay.
As legal counsel for the town of Ridgway, it is my position that portions of the discussion constitute privileged attorney-client communication. Therefore, I'm recommending that no recording be kept of this executive session.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so the time is 7:39 PM, May 11th. We've concluded the executive session. If any participant believes we went outside the proper scope of the executive session, please interrupt the discussion and make an objection. Hearing none, I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor.
Thanks, Bo. Appreciate it. Thank you, staff. And thank you, council. I believe we're done. Anybody else have anything on their mind? And if there's no objection, I will declare this meeting adjourned. And I will see you all next week.
You just want
Don't
to.
get, don't get blown away.
Yeah, see ya.
Back.
Travel safe, Justin.
Good night.
Good
Night.